Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler from JMH & Co. Chartered Professional Accountants. We have teamed up with the Medicine Chamber to present some COVID benefit programs to everyone who might be eligible. So without further ado, let's dive into the temporary wage subsidy. Okay, so quick table of contents. What is a subsidy? Who is it eligible for? What's the calculation? How to claim it? What if you can't claim at all? There are some rollover provisions. What if you didn't reduce payroll remittances where you were actually eligible to claim it? You might or might not be aware there is the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy that integrates with the Temporary Wage Subsidy, which is the one we are talking about. And there is some reporting to CRA just to let them know what you've claimed or if you forgot to claim it and how to kind of clean that up. Now, what is the wage subsidy we're talking about here? The Temporary Wage Subsidy. It's a 10% wage subsidy for employers to reduce payroll deductions to CRA. Now, this only applies to income tax. It doesn't apply to CPP or EI. So you can't reduce your CPP and EI remittances. It only applies to pay from March 18th to June 19th. That's just the duration of this specific program. Now, the benefit received is taxable in the year it is received. So important to note, and that's somewhat consistent throughout all benefits. So something to keep in mind. Who is eligible for this benefit? You have to be an employer in Canada. You have to have a payroll account, obviously, and you have to have paid an individual for wages. You could be organized as a proprietor, a partnership, not-for-profit, charity, or a corporation, CCPC, fancy way of saying a small business. It's important to note that if your business was closed due to COVID and you didn't pay any remuneration, during this period of March 18th to June 19th, you're not eligible for the subsidy because you didn't meet any criteria. So the calculation for this subsidy is fairly straightforward. Step one, you determine the number of eligible employees. You multiply the employees by the maximum amount of $13.75. Note this can't exceed $25,000 per employer. It's about 18 employees. Then you calculate the gross eligible pay from March 18th to June 19th. So you're looking at 3 months salary for each employee. You multiply that amount by 10% to get your allowable subsidy amount. So bear in mind two caps, $13.75 per employee or $25,000 in total. So we can go through a quick example here. You have 8 employees at $13.75 each. You have $11,000 as your max claim. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to get, but you can't go past that. Now, your gross pay from March 18th to June 19th was, let's say, $32,000. So your gross pay times 10% is $3,200. That's what you're stuck with as your allowable subsidy. So how do you claim it? We're going back a number of months here at this point. Now, there isn't a specific application for the subsidy. Instead, you calculate it using the previous method, and then you reduce your payroll remittance to CRA. What if you can't claim at all? You might find a situation where you only have, a few employees and you can't reduce your CPP and EI. Well, luckily you're able to roll it forward, even if it's after the June 19th period. So the government did give some leeway on that. Many people and employers are going to be in this boat where you might be looking at this subsidy program now, well outside of the March to June payroll period, because everyone is an upstanding employer paying their source deductions on time. Now you're actually able to claim it after the fact. CRA will either pay the amount of the subsidy to you or transfer it to your next year's remittance. So T4 time comes around into February, you can reduce your reduction or reduce your withholdings that you have to pay by your amount of the temporary wage subsidy. So as I mentioned before, the emergency wage subsidy is kind of we'll call it the big wage subsidy. It integrates with the temporary wage subsidy, the subsidy we're talking about, to be a maximum of the emergency wage subsidy. We'll call that again the big one. So if you've claimed the temporary wage subsidy of 10%, you can't claim the full CEWS amount. So you'll often see in the second point here below that a lot of individuals are likely to go the 0% rate for the temporary wage subsidy and just claim 100% of the CEWS amount, because you have to reduce your CEWS amount by the amount of the temporary wage subsidy you claim in the end. So in terms of reporting to CRA, there's a new form, PD27. It's fairly easy if you just Google that to fill out and submit to CRA. It's likely going to be easier just to apply online for a CRA My Business account. There'll be an option on there. And that's how you'll let them know if they need to credit anything or if you're doing a 0% route. And that's pretty much all we have on this short discussion on the temporary wage subsidy. If you do have questions, feel free to drop myself personally a line. Here's my direct contact information, and we'd be happy to answer some questions for you. Thanks so much.